BRVM All-Share Index closed the week up 0.28% to close at 203.21 points. And the gainers were Unimax, which gained 15.4%, while others were Citab, up by 6.97%. Now, SGI was up 33.45%. And Track Motors up 2%. The laggards for the week were NEI down 7.35%, while Onatel was 5.88%, SAP was down 3.85%, and Palm C was down 2.58%. Now, to get an outlook for the BRVM Equities and Bond market, I'm joined with Kadi Fadika-Coulibaly, the CEO, SGI Hudson and CIE. Well, hello, Kadi. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, let's start with your take on the 0.28% gains seen on the Bourse last week. The market seems to be recovering from the loss seen at the beginning of the year.
Yes, as most of the companies are showing increasing profits and the return to positive net results in many cases, the good prospects of the Ivorian economy are also pulling the market up, as 31 out of the 37 listed companies are Ivorian. Also, the liquidity is improving, coming from 700,000 USD a day last year to 1.4 million year to date since the beginning of this year. So the exchange started yesterday the test with the brokers to implement the new continuous trading system that is expected to be effectively used in September. And depending on how the test goes, the trading session will be held from 8:30 a.m. until 2:45 p.m. So there is liquidity and there is good result and good prospect that is actually pulling the market.
All right, well, some of the key takeaway for me is the performance of some sectors. I mean, let's start with the banking sector. It gained 1.10% last week. I mean, due to gains seen in the likes of BOACI, SCBCI, and others. Now, what is the market sentiment for the banking space right now? How did it start the new week?
Well, the new week started well as such, because we've seen ETI gaining 6%. 10% actually since the beginning of this week. The banking sector was the first one to be expected to benefit from the recovered economic situation in the region. So it's not a surprise when we see companies like Alios that is doing retail lending and is showing for 2012 revenues growing 35% and loan growth at 26%. This is the trend on the banking sector on the BRVM.
Oh, well, let's move now to the telecom space, where despite the loss of 5.88% seen in Onatel, the sector managed to close on a positive note. What is your short-term view for that space, especially for this week?
Well, we're expecting to see more activity on Onatel. When the company was first listed, the market was not very keen to actually, there didn't have much interest on Onatel. But as we see that the restructuring put in place by Maroc Telecom is actually pulling great results, we're starting to see a lot of activity on Onatel. And last week we had large block trade, and we're seeing again this week. Actually today it went up 1%.